Have you ever felt like you've lost power, you're topping the ball, or you're slicing the ball? This might be something that we call flat shoulder plane. Now, flat shoulder plane is when your shoulders aren't tipping down towards the ball when they hit, but more up towards the horizon line. This is something that sometimes golfers are told that this is a swing path problem, but I'm here to show you that it could actually be a physical problem. In this video, I'm going to show you all the reasons that your shoulders may flatten out in the golf swing, and I'm going to give you 3 simple exercises that'll help you fix flat shoulder plane for good. All right, so one of the biggest issues we see for golfers with flat shoulder plane is actually that they're weak in their glutes or weak in their hips. And the reason being is really just a physical issue with being able to hold their spine at the angle you need to maintain through the entire golf swing. So watch me from the side here. If I go here and I need to get my club down, and I'm playing like more of a wedge, right? I need to really be over the ball. My chest needs to really tip forward here. Well, what should happen is that your hips bend and allow you to be in that plane that you need to be able to do all your work through here through the swing. But if you have weakness in your hips, the problem is maybe not on the first hole, but especially as you go through a round, what'll start happening is you won't be able to keep your body at this angle, and you'll start kind of coming up a little bit. Some people will call this early extension, but it goes together with flat shoulder plane, right? So if you early extend your hips, if you bring it forward like that because you're weak in your hips, what'll then happen is your shoulders will tip up as well. So you can be told you have flat shoulder plane, but really they're talking about early extension, both of which can be caused by weak glutes. Now, how does one fix weak glutes? Well, there's a lot of stuff out there. Basic squats, lunges, all of that will help you get more glute strength. The thing that I like for golfers is the simple deadlift. So I have a kettlebell here, okay? And if you look, this is very similar to the golf position that you need to be. Now, if you don't have the range of motion in your low back to be able to get very low, that's totally fine for a golfer. We don't sweep our hands across the ground. So I am totally fine if I start my golfers just with a hip hinge halfway down to work on getting that glute being the center of rotation, as opposed to what you may see sometimes with the back being the center of rotation. So really focus on the hip doing the motion, okay? Limited range to start. And once you get better at it, you can kind of go a little bit lower. I got stiff hamstrings, so I can't go too low. All right, so the next issue that may cause a flat shoulder plane is actually weak or limited, I should say, hip rotation. So if you can't turn your hips, right, and you kind of come here with your shoulders and do everything with your shoulders, and you're not getting a good turn with your hips through the hip joints, what'll happen is you got to find that rotation somewhere, right? If you can't rotate at the hips, you're probably going to rotate from your upper body. And the problem with that is it's much harder to control your upper body, and it'll cause you to kind of change your swing plane a little bit. So if I don't rotate through here, I have to really turn my shoulders to get the rotation. And then to be able to perfectly turn them down is very, very hard to do if you have very stiff hips. So I'm going to show you an exercise that's good for this, that you can do easily while you're watching TV. So I feel like all I ever do on this channel is tell people to do this 90-90 position, but it's a really good position. This is honestly something that I've given to golfers who maybe been in Scottsdale on a trip, or they've been in and out with work trips. And really all we've gotten to is perfecting the stretch, and they get the results they want. So I'm just gonna show it to you. Hopefully it helps out. But as a refresher, you really wanna go through and you wanna get your hips at this 90-degree angle, okay? 90 at major angles, and you lean forward. That'll stretch this hip. You should feel it in the back of your glute. And then you also can stretch, for a righty golfer, this would be the trail hip, by taking your pelvis, trying to be as upright as you can in your trunk and turn your pelvis down, almost like you're trying to hit your wallet pocket to the floor, okay? This done 30 seconds each side, maybe 3 times on each in each rotation. So 3 30-second holds here, 3 30-second holds here, and then flip around and do the same thing here and here. If you do that consistently, you will have a much easier time swinging the golf club, and you will probably 90% of the time get rid of flat shoulder plane just by getting more rotation. All right, and the last thing that really affects and causes flat shoulder plane can be thoracic rotation, limited ability to turn your shoulders just in general. So the problem here is that when I tell patients to turn, they can turn from their hips, they can turn a little bit from their core, and they'll turn like this and they'll say, well, I can turn my shoulders. What I want you to do to test yourself at home is keep your hips entirely straight. Maybe do this in a mirror and see how much you can actually turn with your shoulders. Sometimes even sitting down makes this easier. But for a lot of us, we actually have a really limited rotation for our thoracic spine because we spend most of our day in a straight position, either at a computer, driving, whatever it is. We don't do a lot of rotation in our day. So this can be a very limiting thing that is kind of sneaky, right? You don't feel you have it because you can turn and look and turn and do these things, but it's really, are you getting it from up here? The reason that causes flat shoulder plane is if I can't get much past here, I'm gonna have to try to find a way to get my club, right? To get my club farther back than here. Well, how am I gonna do that? I'm gonna come up like this, right? I'm gonna get that club a little bit farther back by coming into this kind of reverse spine angle, flat shoulder plane position. And that's gonna make it just even harder to hit the golf ball. Back on the floor again. This is another one of the exercises that if I give golfers and I never see them again and they do it consistently, they actually tend to be okay. So a very simple thing, you just lay down on your side. We're gonna do this on both sides. You lay down on your side, knees together, maybe bring them up just a little bit, hands out together like that, and then you're gonna open as wide as you can, okay? Come down, your goal is to touch this shoulder to the ground. Now, it's hard to do, and you will have some motion going here, but you can either do repetitive stretching like this, where you kind of just go on and off. Maybe not a bad idea to have a pillow. I forgot a pillow. Or you can just hold the stretch, okay? Most people like to go on and off because it gives their rib cage a little bit of a break, right? Holding like this is a lot of twisting for your ribs, but some people like it. So either way, I tend to tell people, do whatever you want, but do it consistently. If you can do that, and there's a few other exercises that you can see down below in the channel, your thoracic rotation should get better. Now, if you put these three things together, improving thoracic rotation, getting stronger in your hips, and improving the rotation of your hips, all these together should help you to address flat shoulder plane. So here's the takeaway. Stop obsessing over your swing path and start focusing on your body. Improve your hip strength, improve your hip rotation, and improve your thoracic rotation, and you should find that it's easier to eliminate flat shoulder plane. Just remember, golf shouldn't hurt and your swing shouldn't fight your body. I'll see you on the next one.